The machine sits at the end of the runway, vibrating with a malice that feels almost sentient. It is not a beautiful airplane. It is a grotesque assembly of horsepower and hate. The nose is too long, hiding an engine that belongs in a locomotive, not a fighter. The wings are clipped short, giving it the glide ratio of a brick. The pilots in the mess hall refuse to look at it. They call it the Widowmaker. They call it the coffin. It has killed 3 men in the last month alone, not in combat, but in the simple, violent act of trying to take off. The torque of the massive propeller is so immense that if you throttle up too fast, the plane doesn't roll forward. It flips over on its back, crushing the pilot into the tarmac. It is a machine that wants to kill its operator. The mechanics hate it because it leaks oil like a sieve and burns spark plugs in 20 minutes. The brass hates it because it is expensive and statistically useless. But the man in the cockpit does not hate it. He understands it. To him, the plane is not cursed. It is simply misunderstood physics. He is a test pilot who was washed out of the academy for insubordination. He argued with his instructors about aerodynamics. He told them that stability is the enemy of maneuverability. He argued that a plane that is easy to fly is a plane that is easy to shoot down. He wants a plane that is unstable. He wants a plane that is teetering on the edge of control because a plane on the edge reacts instantly. He runs his hand over the instrument panel. The gauges are shaking so hard they are blurry. The engine is idling, a low-frequency rumble that rattles his teeth. He is not afraid of the torque. He knows that torque is just energy trying to escape. He knows that if he can harness it, if he can wrestle this beast into the sky, he will have an energy advantage that no enemy can match. He signals the ground crew to pull the chocks. They run away, terrified of the prop wash. He pushes the throttle forward. The takeoff is a brawl. The plane tries to veer left, aiming for the grass, trying to kill him before the fight even starts. He slams the right rudder pedal to the floor, his leg trembling with the effort. He fights the gyroscopic precession of the propeller. The tail comes up, the wheels leave the ground. The beast is airborne, it doesn't climb, it tears a hole in the air. He retracts the gear and feels the center of gravity shift. The plane settles into a hunting speed of 400 miles per hour. He is alone. The rest of the squadron is flying the reliable, safe, docile fighters. They are miles ahead. He is the rear guard, the cleanup crew, the liability. He climbs to 25,000 feet. The air is cold and thin. The engine loves it. The supercharger kicks in, forcing compressed air into the cylinders, and the beast wakes up. The vibration smooths out into a lethal hum. He checks his guns. For 20 cannons, heavy, slow firing, devastating. Most planes carry machine guns that require a sustained burst to kill. This plane carries sledgehammers. One hit is structural failure, but the recoil is so strong that firing the guns slows the plane down by 10 miles per hour. It is a weapon system built by lunatics. Then he sees them, a swarm, a cloud of black dots against the white snow of the clouds below. Enemy bombers escorted by a hive of agile, lightweight fighters. There are dozens of them, maybe 50, maybe more. They are confident. They are flying in tight cover, masters of the sky. They see the lone, ugly plane approaching. They probably laugh. They see the short wings, the heavy nose. They identify it as the failed prototype. They break formation to claim the easy kill. 5 fighters peel off, diving toward him. They expect him to turn, they expect him to run. He does neither. He flies straight at them. This is the head-on paradox. In a head-on pass, the closing speed is 800 miles per hour. You have a fraction of a second to aim. The enemy pilots are firing early, spraying bullets, hoping for a lucky hit. He waits. He trusts the math of the trajectory. He knows that his heavy plane is a stable gun platform at high speeds. He waits until the lead enemy fills his windscreen. He fires. A half-second burst. The cannons roar, shaking the airframe. The shells bridge the gap in an instant. The lead enemy fighter simply evaporates. The explosive shells hit the engine block and the kinetic energy tears the plane apart. It flies through its own debris field. One down, he doesn't turn. He knows that if he tries to turn with the light fighters, they will outturn him and kill him. He uses the curse. He uses the instability. He slams the stick into the corner and kicks the rudder. A normal plane would bank. This plane snaps. The violent torque that kills rookies on the runway now snaps the plane into a brutal, instantaneous roll. It spins on its axis like a drill bit. The enemy pilots behind him can't track it. It defies the laws of smooth aerodynamics. He snaps the plane inverted and pulls. He is now diving vertically, right through the middle of the enemy formation. He is falling into the bomber stream. The escort fighters are in chaos, trying to follow his erratic, violent maneuvers. He targets a bomber. It is a massive whale of a ship bristling with defensive guns. He comes in from the high 12 o'clock, a vertical slash. The gunners can't elevate their weapons fast enough. He pours fire into the wing root. The wing shears off. The bomber begins a death spiral. 2 down, but now the swarm is on him. Tracers zip past his canopy. He is surrounded. A lesser pilot would panic. Checks his energy state. He is fast, faster than anything else in the sky. He pulls up. The heavy nose, which makes the plane so hard to land, now acts as a counterweight, preserving his momentum. He zooms upward, trading speed for altitude. The enemy fighters try to follow. They stall. Their light airframes run out of energy. They hang in the air helpless. He reaches the apex of his climb, Hammer's head stalls, using the torque to whip the nose around and drops back down. He is a pendulum of death. He picks a stalled fighter. It is hanging motionless. He fires. The cockpit shatters. 3 down, the fight becomes a blur of physics. He is not flying, he is managing vectors. He dives, shoots, climbs, stalls, repeats. He never turns horizontally. He fights in the vertical where his engine power dominates. He kills 2 fighters who collide trying to dodge his head on assault. 5 down, he catches a bomber straggler, raking it from tail to nose. 6 down, the gun barrels are glowing red hot. The cockpit smells of cordite and ozone. The vibration is getting worse. The engine is overheating. The curse is creeping back. The oil pressure is dropping. The plane is trying to die. He ignores the gauges. He is in the flow state, that rare psychological zone where time dilates. He sees the enemy planes moving in slow motion. He anticipates their panic. He sees a pair of fighters trying to bracket him. He cuts the throttle. The sudden deceleration acts like an air brake. The fighters overshoot, flying right past his nose. He slams the throttle forward again. The torque kicks the tail. He uses the kick to skid the nose onto the target. Fire, 7 down, fire, 8 down. The enemy is terrified. They are fighting a ghost. They hit him, bullets ping off the armor plate behind his seat, shreds of aluminum tear off his wings, but the beast doesn't care. It was built to survive crash landings. It can survive machine gun fire. The heavy construction that makes it a brick also makes it a tank. He barrels through a wall of flak. A shell fragment cracks his canopy. The wind screams into the cockpit, freezing his face. He wipes the blood from his eyes. He is not done. He sees a cluster of fighters regrouping, trying to form a defensive circle, a Loughbury circle. It is a strong defensive formation. He laughs. He knows the flaw. A circle is static. He climbs above it. He dives into the center. He is the hawk in the pigeon coop. He fires a spread, simply holding the trigger down as he plunges through the circle. The cannons chew through 3 planes in a single pass. Debris rains down. 11 down. He pulls out of the dive so hard that the rivets on the wings pop. The G-meter hits 9. His vision tunnels to a pinprick. He grunts, forcing blood to his brain. He is graying out, but his hands are still working. He levels out on the deck, 50 feet above the ground. The enemy thinks he is running. They dive after him. Mistake. At low altitude, the air is thick. His clipped wings, efficient at high speed, are stable in the heavy air. The enemy's long wings buffet and twist. He lures them into the compressibility trap. He drags them over a ridgeline. He pulls up sharply. They try to follow. They mush into the ground, unable to pull out in time. 12 down, 13 down. One fighter remains, the ace of the enemy squadron. He has stayed high, watching, waiting for the cursed plane to run out of ammo or luck. He dives now, a calculated, precise attack. He is behind the hero. He has the lock. The hero looks in the mirror. He sees the muzzle flashes. He has no energy left, no altitude, no speed. The engine is coughing, spitting oil. The plane is shuddering on the verge of structural disintegration. He has one card left to play. The ultimate instability. He releases the stick. He kicks the rudder hard and jams the aileron opposite. He forces the plane into a snap spin. It is a maneuver that is strictly forbidden in the manual. It usually results in an unrecoverable crash. The plane tumbles out of the sky looking like a shot bird. It rotates wildly, falling like a leaf. The enemy ace thinks he has scored the kill. He stops firing. He flies close to confirm the crash. As the enemy passes close, the hero grabs the controls. He fights the G-forces that are pinning his arms to his sides. He slams the throttle to emergency power, war emergency power. The engine screams, injecting water methanol into the cylinders. The torque strikes again. He uses the violent rotation of the spin to whip the nose up and around. It is an impossible shot, a snapshot from a tumbling aircraft. The nose crosses the enemy's flight path for a tenth of a second. He squeezes the trigger. The last rounds leave the guns. The shells hit the enemy ace directly in the fuel tank. The explosion is spectacular, a fireball that engulfs the sky. 14 down, the sky is empty. The silence returns, but it is not quiet. The engine is knocking, a death rattle. The propeller is bent. The wings are sieves. The pilot is exhausted, his flight suit soaked in sweat and oil. He limps the plane back to the base. He doesn't have enough fuel to circle. He comes in straight. No landing gear, the hydraulics are shot. He is going to belly it in. The ground crew watches in horror as the cursed plane screams over the fence, trailing smoke. It hits the runway with a screech of tearing metal. Sparks shower like fireworks. It slides for 1,000 feet, slewing sideways, digging a trench in the asphalt. It comes to a stop. Silence. The ambulance races out. The mechanics run with fire extinguishers. They expect to find a corpse. The canopy jams. The pilot kicks it open. He climbs out onto the wing. He slides down to the ground and collapses. The mechanics stare at the plane. It is destroyed, ruined, but then they look at the gun camera footage. They count the kills, 1, 5, 10, 14. They look at the pilot who is lighting a cigarette with shaking hands. They look at the Widowmaker. And for the first time, they don't see a curse. They see a weapon that was just waiting for a master who understood that in the physics of war, chaos is the only advantage that matters. The plane never flies again. It is scrapped, but the design is copied. The engineers study the data. They realize that the instability was the secret. They build the next generation of fighters based on the cursed flight. They build them unstable. And the pilot, he goes back to the mess hall, sits alone, and waits for the next impossible machine.